What's the craziest reason a restaurant has ever gone out of business? This all took place back in the 90s, when landlines ruled the world. Our home phone number was nearly identical to the local Pizza Hut's. Their number ended in 5575, ours ended in 5515. Just one tiny digit off, but it caused endless confusion. At least a few times a day, someone would call asking for pizza, and we'd politely explain that they had the wrong number. Sometimes people laughed, sometimes they argued, and sometimes they'd call back demanding extra cheese. It was annoying but manageable until Pizza Hut ran a new advertising campaign. They paid for newspaper ads, phone book listings, and even billboards, and somehow, whoever handled the campaign used our phone number instead of theirs. The result? Chaos. Overnight, our phone line turned into a 24-hour pizza hotline. We went from 5 wrong number calls a day to well over 100. The phone rang constantly. Early morning, late at night, even during dinner, people would scream into the answering machine, demanding pizza deliveries, complaining about cold food, or asking for refunds. We couldn't use our phone for anything else. At first, my dad handled it calmly. He called the local Pizza Hut to explain what happened and suggested 2 easy fixes. Either change their number or pay the small fee, about $10, for us to change ours. The manager completely lost his temper. He accused my dad of causing confusion, claimed we were costing him business, and refused to do anything. My dad hung up, stared at the phone for a few seconds, and said, "All right then. If that's how he wants to handle it, we'll handle it our way." And so began the summer we accidentally became Pizza Hut. Dad gave me and my sister very clear instructions. Every time the phone rings, answer it as if you work there. Take orders, sound polite, write down everything. We were teenagers on summer break and honestly bored out of our minds, so we thought it sounded hilarious. We grabbed notebooks, pens, and started taking orders. We'd answer cheerfully, "Thank you for calling Pizza Hut. What can I get for you today?" People would rattle off huge orders, extra large pepperoni, breadsticks, wings, the works, and we'd tell them, "Perfect. Your total is $23.95, and your pizza will arrive in about an hour and a half." When they called back asking where their food was, we'd say, "Oh, the driver just left." And if they called a third time, we'd transfer them directly to the real Pizza Hut. My dad had even bought a new phone system with a transfer button just for this purpose. It became a full family project. Friends came over to help. We took shifts, answering calls, acting super professional. Some people even tried to make reservations. One guy asked if we could deliver beer, so my sister told him, "Only if you promise to tip well." We turned our living room into a fake pizza operation. After a couple of weeks, my dad decided to try reason again. He called the Pizza Hut manager to explain what was happening. The guy was still rude and refused to admit anything was wrong. So, my dad decided we'd keep going until someone higher up paid attention. A few weeks later, corporate finally did. They called us and accused us of interfering with operations and stealing customers. My dad calmly explained that they had printed our number by mistake and played them recordings of his earlier calls with the local manager. Corporate didn't seem to understand. They just told us to stop taking calls that weren't ours. So, we didn't. At that point, it had become part of our daily routine. Every day, we'd take dozens of fake orders, redirect complaints, and send angry customers to the real Pizza Hut. We weren't doing anything illegal, just answering our phone. And the results started showing. The local Pizza Hut began falling apart. Customers were furious about missing deliveries. Their phones were constantly tied up with redirected calls. Reviews tanked and business dropped fast. Within 6 weeks, the restaurant shut down completely. A few days after it closed, the same manager who'd yelled at my dad called our house again. This time, his tone was completely different. He said we'd ruined his business and that he'd lost money and his job. My dad just said, "All I asked for was a $10 fix. You could have avoided all of this." The line went quiet after that. Eventually, the corporate office fixed their ads and the flood of calls stopped. We kept our number though. We'd earned it after surviving that summer. For a while afterward, we'd still get the occasional pizza order from someone using an old flyer, but it never bothered us. Years later, whenever our phone rang late at night, my mom would grin and say, "Maybe it's someone craving a large pepperoni again." That single typo, one tiny printed digit, turned our quiet family home into the busiest Pizza Hut in town. And when the dust settled, we were still standing, but the real Pizza Hut wasn't.